Howdy folks, it's Meandering Mike in the Man Cave of Madness, and it's the middle of the evening, and we are doing an unboxing here on our channel. We had a poll on our community tab where I was letting the viewers decide which of 4 games, not the ones across the back, but there was 4 different adventure games. Well, these ones across here were the other 3. This one won out by more than 50% of the votes. So with 4 different titles voting, this one got 54%. So hands down the winner amongst these titles here. So this is from Kosmos Games. It's their Adventure Games Discover the Story series. They also have another one called the Exit, kind of an escape game, time pressure. This is not that. This is a discovery game where you have a little more time. It's less pressured, and the emphasis is on enjoying the story. This particular one here, let me remove the shrink, and presto, the shrink is gone. This one here, let me zoom in, says, I bet you I can zoom in more and you'll be able to read that better. This one was damaged in transit or something, the box, so that was in the shrink, but it's for 1 to 4 players. It says 3 times 90. So there's 3 sections, 3 parts of the game, the story, that you play in 3 different chapters. That'll take roughly 90 minutes each. And it has the ratings there. I'm not sure how well you can see those. Decision-making, cooperation, and storytelling are rated 5. Replayability is rated 3 out of 5. Now, many of these small box games, like the Exit, that once you've discovered the gist behind it, it's like, well, you're not going to play that again. It's not replayable. Where this is, 3 out of 5, maybe something that you put aside and play later, or something that you played with friends, and then you play with a different set of friends, and maybe you take the back seat in decision making and let them make something, just help them if they're stuck or whatnot. My understanding is this game system does actually have hints available in the adventure book. So, you playing along and replay and helping them with hints, that's okay. You wouldn't want to dominate the whole game decision making. So I'm going to tilt this down a little bit here on it real quick. Quick view of what's in there. So it's cards, 109 room tiles, character figures. Those are on cards, but that represents each of the up to 4 characters. Even tell you how many plastic bags are in there to store your stuff, and a rule book. Now, it's got an app. It's not required. If you look at that fine print there, it says that there's an audiobook version of the adventure booklet. So you can have it read to you, basically. It's like, books on audio file, or whatever those services are called. I personally don't want to buy any game that requires an app, because it's happened too often that games stop supporting their app and the game becomes useless. So just say no to app-driven game. I mean, if you're buying a phone game, that's one thing. You have it on your phone, that's the only way, and yeah, those games might disappear. But if you buy, a tabletop type game that requires an app, just be warned. So let's look inside. Now, I'm not going to go into too much depth because it's a story game, right? And you don't want spoilers, right? Like it says right across here, this yellow caution tape. Do not look at any of the game materials before starting the game. Do not look at the front of the adventure cards. Wait until it tells you to do so. Now, I might take a quickie peek at random to see if I can find something to show you an example of one without spoiling anything. So in this particular case, we're in a dungeon, and you try to escape from the dungeon. And as he's like, all these people with loss of memory showing up in rooms and trying to escape. It's kind of a weird phenomenon, but people seem to enjoy it. Now, there's the authors, Phil Walker Harding, Matthew Dunstan. Bunch of small print there. I'm not going to worry about it. If you really want to see, those credits. Hey, I like that layout, dude, Martin Hoffman. I'm going to buy all his game. Yeah, I don't think anyone does that, right? So, now, so here is the book. Really fast, you couldn't see anything, right? So there's entries. There's numbered entries in there. So there's a certain way to be directed to paragraphs that you read to figure out what you do next that might lead to other paragraphs. All right. Here we go. These are not thick tiles. All right, just gonna rip that off because, as you know, plastibands. So they're labeling them here so you don't actually like mix up your games, or if you try to like store two games in the same box, you know this is from the dungeon, right? So that's nice. I will of course use, yep, that's all the same. NPR, yeah. So those are all. Now there should be a starter. There's your two plastic bags that actually tell you. No, they lied. There are 3. The little meeple characters here have their own plastic bag. Look at that. 4 character figures. Yeah, so technically there's 3 plastic bags. All right. 2 card decks. So here is your characters. Here is individual cards. Now, my understanding, all right, here they talk about playing in, is that there's, like I said, red potion. Okay, there's items and things that can do stuff, and there's certain cards that potentially you can combine with each other. And so you look at the combination of items, the numbers, and you actually look, that up in the book. So maybe you have a card like 39 and 40, and you could look in here under, is there a paragraph 3940 to see if those two can combine and something happens. So, isn't there a starting room? I think well, this should tell us, should it not? Venture plastic bags. It says, do look at anything. See, technically, this is wrong. Please look at this game material, the Dungeon Handbook, because if you saw this and stopped, how do I play? Don't look at any of the material. Close your eyes. No. Yeah, you're in the Dungeon in the Dark. No. All right, so you need to read this game materials. They should spell out here what we mean. Don't look at the cards. Don't look at the tiles. Don't look at the adventure book. You can read this. All right, so B. All right, so I'm guessing you actually do. This is kind of a small font. I mean, it's readable, especially if I get closer with the camera. But I would like a little bigger font. Again, my old eyes. Maybe you're young and you have great youthful eyes, and saying, Mike, that font looks so big. It's wasting. No, trust me, that's a small font. Take room card A from the card stack, place it face up. So yes, we get some eye candy. Ta-da! All right, so interesting. 101, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Card A, it's telling you here, so once it's flipped over, you can know which card you're at. So these are your choices of what you can do. A guy who never escaped the dungeon. Some grate in the floor. This looks like trying to open the door. Now it looks like there's a keyhole, but there's no door handle. This, I would normally think there's like a window through, but it's actually, if you can see that, it looks like some scratches in the wood. Brick. But see, it looks here like this is plastered brick. And this is exposed brick. I don't know. Under the bed. Is that a box or a book or something on the bed? And then the broken bar. So you pick one of these to look at, and you go and you read the thing. And then depending on what that says, you can, you probably come back to here and you can keep doing these different things or follow down a certain thing here. So I will do one of these for you. I'll take a look at one of these here in a minute, so you can see it's a minor spoiler. I'm going to read one of these initial ones here. Game overview. Keep a clean sheet of paper, pen in handy to take notes. At the end of each chapter, scoring takes place. So the score you achieve does not affect the story. Solo game setup. It's also possible to play the game alone. In this case, you need to play with 2 or more characters simultaneously. You can choose which 2 you want to play, or more. Yeah, play 2 to 4 characters if you're playing solo. And if you've got 2 to 4 players, play with that number of characters. I suppose you could play 2 players with 2 characters each and play all 4 characters if you wanted to. All right. Game over. Last person to have watched or read a fantasy novel or movie or show begins the game. Who goes first? They do that sometimes. Weird thing. Who's ever youngest, whoever's oldest, whoever owns the game, whoever's visited an island. So the last one to have watched or read a fantasy novel, movie, or show begins. If the text on a card or adventure book contradicts the rules in this rule book, the text on the card or adventure book applies. As anything specific in your story or in your card results overrides the rules. There's an example of notes. Let's see here down at the bottom. Alert. On the next page, you'll find the hints. So there's the hints are in this book. All right. So it's halfway through. Actually, the rules are pretty short because that's half of this rule book. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. 5, 6. 6 pages of rule. Oops. Yep. See, there's the hints. There's the beginning. Okay. You can save the game, your progress. You can take a picture of the current setup and the cards in your possession. You can write down on a pen or paper. Okay, states of health. So each character has a certain amount of health points. And my understanding is it's very hard to die, or you can still do things. You can keep going. Like it's hard to lose this one. It's like this style adventure is not for those kind of people who like really tough cooperative games that are really hard to solve, right? That are disappointed if they win the first time. Like, oh, that's too easy, man. That's a legit thing. Some people like that super challenge of those kind of cooperative games. This one is supposed to be discovering the story. This is your emphasis here. That you'll take whatever time you need to. You'll figure things out. It's kind of like those adventure style old text games. Obviously not with text, but you got graphics, albeit static, and it's about solving things, figuring it out, and discovering the story. Health. Okay, a certain number of health cards depending on how many players. You can never lose your last health card. So You have a certain number of health cards. When you flip it over and take a hit. Once they're already all gray, if you have to take another hit, you lose a card, but you never lose your last card. Interesting. So here's the if a player is on their last card that's gray and you have to lose a life, the player on their left loses 1 point instead. Like the other person throws himself in front of your character to stop the peril, or somehow saves you, and takes the hit themselves. Here's possibilities for healing. I'm doing sort of reading backwards. All right. Everything you need to start the game. Place all your characters on chord A and read the entry on 100 on page 5. So that's actually how you start. So we will do that. But a little quick thing about the cards that you get. Somebody require you to draw adventure cards or describe them. Take one or more cards from the adventure card stack. Face up in front of you unless they tell you differently. Put an adventure card back into the adventure card stack. You return it face down in the original position in the adventure card stack. Return one or more adventure cards to the box. So that's discarding. Already in your possession. A card that has been removed from the game stays removed. Combine two adventure cards together. Okay, here's this. Talking about that I'd heard that you... doesn't matter what location you're standing on. All right. So to combine with a card with location, you have to be at the location. And then you say, I'm going to basically use an item at the location. And then you put the two numbers together. So interesting. So with two items having 2-digit things, that'll give you a 4-digit number in the adventure book. Looking at a location, the locations appear to all have 3-digit numbers. And if you're using an item on a location, one item, you got a 2, and so you have a 5-digit number. Right, so using card 10 with card 15, you go 10, 15. Now, I suppose there should also be 15 and 10, or do you always do the lower number first? Or do they, do they, see how tiny that font is there? Not even showing up. In this case, it says, okay, if you've put the can with the can opener, you get a can of an opened can. So I don't know if this is actually in here. This is just a pretend example, or if it's actually in here. 10 and 12 makes 10 and 15 turn into a new item 12, an opened can of cat food. All right, you discard these two and you find this one and pull it out. All right. So, one quick look. Move your character figure. So you can move your figure and take one action. You can exchange adventure cards between players. You move to any location already in a face-up room. My watch thought I was talking to it. So as you open up rooms, you can always move back and you can go back, right? And I want to go back and go to this. We haven't explored this, or maybe you got a new item and you go back and try to use that item there. So you can easily move anywhere that you already have open. You don't have to count out spaces and blah, blah, blah. It's not a time-limited game where you're rushing and how far away you are matters and all that stuff. So none of that, which can be fun. Some of those cooperative, time-based, doing like Forbidden Island. That one looks like if you've never played that one. You know, it's not a story-based game, but it's a really fun race against time cooperative game. Yes, do not place them directly on top of the number. You want to be able to see the number. Put them next to the number. So you can. All right, take one action. You can explore a location number. You're reading the paragraph. Or you can combine two adventure cards with each other. Or you can combine an adventure card with a location. Yeah. The 3-digit number. You can always revisit for new information. Okay. So let's take a quick look at that. We're at 20 minutes here, which was sort of my goal, which we're going to go a little over. But it says to read number 100. Know what it said? 100? Entries 100. Let me try to block that. You wake up from an uneasy sleep and search around in the dark, your eyes wide open. You still have goosebumps all over your body. Weren't you just walking through the torch-lit stone passage? And then there was a noise. Or was it a scream? That's what woke you. Now all is quiet again. Almost. For you can hear a sound. Too quiet to pinpoint its location, yet loud enough to be disconcerting. How did I even end up here? Amnesia again? No. You ask yourself. How did you end up here? You ask yourself. Trying to remember what makes your head hurt, though, so you decide to take a look around first. In the moonlight. I'm not going to read that whole thing. So, you're in a dungeon. Where am I? What happened? Something about Behringer. So, you're waking up. Oh, how to escape the dungeon. Take mission card A1. Read entry A on page 2. So, room cards A. So that's the scope of the game, folks. You're gonna uncover locations. There's quite a few of them there, up through R in the alphabet, which is, I can't remember how far R is. Is it about 20 or 18, somewhere in there? Well, it said on the back of the box, right? How many mission cards were? Didn't it say that? Room cards, 18. Yeah, pretty good. A through R, 18. I'll have to remember that. Again, I'm not going to open there. Here's an action. Red potion. We'll cheat. That's there. I'm not going to spoil too much, but it gives you a free action. You may drink this potion during your turn if you want to. Read entry 225. Okay. That doesn't spoil anything at all, right? There's a potion that you can drink, and you can read this entry, and you don't have no idea how you got the potion, where you get the potion, or what that's all about. So, I suppose we could take a look at the characters. The shrink is off. I didn't want to futz around. Wow, those two characters look very similar. These are the health cards they have there. That's just a health card. And so there's a whole bunch of health cards. Turn overview. And there's A1. So that's where it said to start with A1. All right. Which we'll take a look at that one, because that is everyone's going to come to that. It's not really a spoiler because you're going to do this. So, Okoro, Cassandra, RF, Haruka. Haruka the skilled, RF the knowledgeable, Cassandra the attentive, and Okoro the strong. Now, there's no stats. There's no nothing on here. I have no idea if in the content of the game, it depends on which character you have. So green meeple, blue meeple, yellow meeple, red meeple. There's no stats. There's no list of skills. The fact that, you know, if you're gonna have between 2 and 4 characters. Unless you're playing 4 characters, you're not gonna have all 4. So there's probably not. You know, if they do have some character reference in there, it's not going to be something that you can't solve the story without one particular character, because you're not necessarily going to have that character. So A1, set aside the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I think, yeah, if there was 2 characters, you had 6 health cards each. If there was 4 characters, you had 3 cards each. So obviously, if you had 3 characters, you'd have 4 each. So turn overview. So that is like a hint card on terms of what you do, like the sequence of play, what you can do. So those are 2 of those. We can share around. A1. So that was what we had permission to read for room A. Escape. You want nothing more. This is your mission. What you need to do, find the exit. Escape this dark dungeon. Be on your guard, though. Those who know what else is hidden within these walls. All right. So that's it. You need to get out of this room, basically. That's your first mission. Now, there could be some, because there's A2, A3. That's in room A. And those may not show up until later. E. Okay, and then there's the numbered cards. Interesting. And so you may have to come back. So while you're in A the first time, you might get new things to do, or you may end up getting out and end up coming back at some point and reviewing these. But so there's your mission, escape, and the details. So, you know, you can, again, like I said, I'm not going to read that whole paragraph, multiple paragraphs for room A, but you get the gist. And so obviously you can't get the full flavor of the game from this without digging into more spoilers, but it's your text style adventure game with item cards. That should be 38. It is. Okay, good. So that starts in 39. Play again. Been assigned to break in. Okay, here's a different one. What does that say? Monochrome Incorporated. Monochrome Inc. Search facility, secret of Monochrome. So here you're breaking in. Instead of trying to break out, you're trying to break in. All right, that's interesting. I may have that one. I can't remember. All right. So there are those. Nope, I'm not gonna flash. Don't want to spoil anything for those. That's enough. We looked at the first room and that. So, Meandering Mike, Man Cave of Madness. This was our unboxing of adventure games, Discover the Story series from Kosmos. The title called The Dungeon. It's for 1 to 4 players, and in the 1-player version, you'll play it 2 or more characters if you want to. And as it said, it is normally 3 90-minute sessions. So some people might not want to commit to that much time, so that could be an issue. It's going to take an hour and a half to get through one chapter. Now, maybe the chapter is satisfying enough that, like if you don't, play the subsequent ones, maybe you, or maybe it's, there's enough of a cliffhanger that, we want to play that game. We want to find out what happens, Getting the same number of players, these same players back might be difficult. But you could always agree if you're playing multiplayer, saying like, look, if you do make it next time, we're going to have someone else play that character, we're going to keep going from there. Yeah, your choice. So that's always a thing with cooperative games in a series like, Pandemic legacy season. Well, now there's 0 and 1 and 2. Season 1 was the first season. It's season 1 and 2, and then they came up with season 0. Yeah, go figure. So again, Meandering Mike, Man Cave of Madness, our unboxing of. I said we're mentioning on the channel before that we're going to focus more on war games and sort of strategy games of more the historical conflict type than your typical tabletop hobby type games. But I'm gonna probably try to do like maybe 1 a month, and I'll probably do something similar where I'll let you guys choose. Sometimes I'll just I'm gonna do this one and I'll unbox it. I'll pick one, but at least half the time I'll let you guys decide which ones come up next and give you some selection. And if things are tighter and closer, I'll include the previous games that we had back there again. But the fact that this one won hands down, I probably won't include these in the list. Maybe later in the year I might cycle some back in. But if there's was a close second, I'll cycle those into the choices. So again, Meandering Mike, meandering on and on and on. So all you good folks out there, take care. Enjoy whatever stories that you have in your life, and ciao.